Hi, and welcome to the Purposeful Eats Kitchen. I am Chef Jeannie, and today I'd like to bring you a mini lesson of how to cook a pie pumpkin. So in the fall, pumpkins are prevalent, and pie pumpkins also make a cute decoration, but they also make a fantastic pumpkin puree for any of the holiday dishes that you might be deciding you want to prepare. So pie pumpkins are the smaller pumpkin as compared to like a jack-o'-lantern pumpkin, a carving pumpkin. Pumpkins come in all various sizes. You will find some smaller than this. Those are typically called gourds. Um, but this particular pumpkin is the only one that you want to use if you're looking to cook it. Jack-o'-lantern pumpkins and carving pumpkins are not a variety that taste good. So you could cook them, but the flavor is not going to be equivalent to what a pie pumpkin is. So for a pie pumpkin, what we'll start with doing, if the stem is removed, we're simply going to be cutting it in half. If the stem is not removed, then I suggest cutting off the top, just a sliver off the top, because it'll be a lot easier to be able to cut through. You don't have to cut through that stem. So the tools that you'll need a large knife. With a chef's knife is ideal, and a cutting board, and then make sure you have a baking sheet or a 9x13 pan for the cooking process. So I'm simply going to pierce the skin and cut this in half. Got to use a little bit of muscle. Pie pumpkins have an orange flesh and inside are seeds, just like you'll find in a carving pumpkin. So we're simply going to pull those out. And I'm using an ice cream scoop. My ice cream scoop has a serrated edge, which makes it ideal for scooping out the guts or the middle part of pumpkins, of squash, anything that has the fibrous membranes in the middle with the seeds. So a spoon will work just fine too. So we're going to scoop these out. You can save the seeds and choose to roast them. If you were to roast them, add a little bit of olive oil, cook them at 400 to 425. You can sprinkle them with some seasonings then. Maybe consider putting on some cinnamon and sugar. Perhaps you want a little more savory preparation, so you could do a little bit of chili powder. You could make it more Mexican in flavor, adding a little bit more cumin to it. Add a little turmeric for a different spice. So there's a variety of ways that you can enjoy the seeds, but it does require a little bit of work because you're going to have to pull the seeds outside of the fibrous membrane in there. So I do suggest doing this part prior to cooking it, simply because you'll see in just a minute when I show you the cooked pumpkin, the flesh is going to get very soft and it's going to be much more difficult to pull out the guts of the pumpkin when it's cooked. So there we go. I have it all prepared. So I'm going to put these pumpkins face down. Face down allows the steam to be trapped. It's going to generate steam from the moisture in there. It allows it to be trapped and it gives it a very soft texture. If you were to put it up, which you could, but you'll notice that the exterior of it will get roasted, and that makes it a little bit more challenging when we get to the puree process. So simply going to put these sides down on my sprayed cookie sheet. I'm going to put it in the oven at 400 degrees for about 45 minutes, and then the pumpkin will be all set. So let me show you what it looks like. So here are my cooked pumpkins. So you'll see the flesh is extremely soft. That's exactly what we're looking for. And I'm going to use my ice cream scoop again because, again, I find this to be a very effective way of scooping out the middle. So now we have a cooked pumpkin, and I'm actually going to put this in a food processor because I want to puree it. You'll notice that it's fibrous. You'll see it, the pumpkin flesh itself is fibrous, and you could cook it with it at this point, but I think you'll notice the texture in whatever dish that you're preparing. So to eliminate that texture, we're simply going to put it in a food processor, or you can add it to a blender, and we're just going to puree it. So that way we have our pumpkin puree. So the fantastic thing about doing this part as opposed to buying canned pumpkin, it is a little bit more labor intensive. I realize canned pumpkin is a convenience item. However, you're going to get more yield for your dollar by doing this, by preparing your own pie pumpkin. I actually found some really good deals on pie pumpkins recently. One location, it was like a local stand. They had pie pumpkins now for 50 cents a piece. At the local grocer, they were 2 for $1. So between these 2 pie pumpkins that I have, I will probably yield about 3 cans worth of pumpkin puree. So if you do the math, typically if you buy pumpkin this time of year, you'll find it's anywhere between $2, $3, maybe even $4 a can, depending on if you're buying organic or not. So as you can see, we get a lot more bang for our buck with pureeing this ourselves. So, all right, I have cleaned this as best as I can. So I'm simply going to put it in the food processor, and I'm going to turn it on just to allow it to puree even more. You only need about a minute. You could even do less. I'm probably going to do about 30 seconds because this is really soft. It's going to depend too on how powerful either your food processor or your blender is, but there we have it. So this is probably close to a can. 1/2 would be very close to equivalent to 1 can of pumpkin. So you'll notice the pumpkin is very vibrant. They're fantastic as far as the nutrient content. You'll notice they're rich in beta carotene. That's what gives it its orange color. Full of vitamin A, vitamin C, great support for your eyes, for your heart, for your skin. Pumpkin puree is going to be different than pumpkin pie filling. So in case you didn't know, pumpkin pie filling has seasonings in it. So you'll find you'll find cloves, and you'll find nutmeg and cinnamon in the pumpkin puree because it's already ready to go into a pie crust for pumpkin pie. But pumpkin puree is going to be without any type of seasoning in it, which makes it perfect for both savory and sweet dishes. So there you have it. I hope you would consider trying to make your own pie pumpkin into pumpkin puree. So I look forward to seeing you next time in the Purposeful Eats Kitchen. Bye.